right. I know many of you can hear me clearly. That's good. Okay, I'm still admitting some people. Right. Okay, let me make this open. We are going to start very soon. Let's still hold on a bit for others to join us. I don't want our class to exceed 1 hour tonight. Okay, let me share my screen. Please ensure that your mic is muted. I've muted everybody, but ensure that while the class is going on, your mic is muted so that everyone can hear me on this call. All right. If you need to discuss anything, you can throw it up on the chat box. That will be well appreciated. Okay, I want to believe everyone can see my screen now. If you can see my screen, kindly drop a thumb up if you can see my screen. All right, thank you. I just want to carry everybody along. I'm launching my Power BI desktop. So I want to believe everyone have gone through the process of installing Power BI. There was a brief video that has been done on that area on how to install your Power BI. So if you have not installed your Power BI on the system, please kindly ensure that you do that tonight before you go to bed. It is very, very important and also essential that you do that. Kindly ensure that you do that. Okay, this is my Power BI desktop. I'm just going to be launching it with this blank report. There was a recorded video that was done on the process that explained on the features of Power BI, all the environment of Power BI, talking about the backstage, the home, or the menu bars, the ribbons, the view, the visualization, the data. Please go through all of that. I won't want us to go through that process tonight again. So I just want to go to what we need to do, because in the recording video that was sent, we understand that there was a challenge with the sound, and the challenge we had was for the video record 2 and video record 3. So this live class is going to be for the video record 2, so that you can also follow the process as I take you through the work of this Power BI. So you can follow the process. So okay, let's start with this. In the first video that we did, in that video I was just making use of a single data. And if you could remember that the single data we are making use of is just collected for a particular company. It is possible that as a data analyst, you might encounter having to work with just a single data. And what we were doing in Excel also was just working on a single data. And that's why I work on a single data that talks about collections of data between 2015 to 2017. It was just a single data. As a data analyst, you might encounter such kind of data that you need to work with. But when it comes to having a multiple data, it is possible that in an organization, we have several data coming from different departments. I can have department for HR, department for marketing, department for finance, department for sales, and all of that. And each of these departments have data that they collate, each of these departments. But one of the beautiful thing about Power BI is that if you are having such different departments, all of those data that will be collected from those departments, they are set of multiple data. So sometimes as a data analyst, you might need to have you might need to work with some set of multiple data. Sometimes it might not just be a single data. If it's a single data, it's easier for you to work with and to just play all around it. But when it comes to multiple data, that is where you need to go some extra mile, because those data are being collected from different departments in a company, and those data needs to be harmonized together for you as a data analyst to help to provide insight to that data. You can to help to provide insight to that data. So for Power BI will help you to connect to such data. So if I'm having data that is coming from various extensions of files, Power BI can enable me to connect to such kinds of data. So tonight, part of the things we'll be learning on is to know how to consolidate some of our data. How do we consolidate some of our data? How do we append some of our data? How do we do some cleaning to those multiple data we are having? Because sometimes it might become challenges. And part of the greater capacity or capabilities that Power BI is having over Excel is the ability for the application to combine several multiple data together. Several multiple data together. It has the ability to do that. And that's one of the things that people majorly make use of Power BI to do. If you have to do that in Excel, you'll be having a lot of challenges to do that in Excel, because you need to connect to several data. That means you'll be analyzing those data one after the other. But in Power BI, you can analyze those data all at once by just making use of your consolidation, bringing all of those data together. Data from sales, data from finance, data from HR, data from operation, and all of that. Those data can come together for you to just have. And when you look at a particular organization, you don't just have a data analyst alone. You can have a data engineer, you can have a database administrators, all of that. All of them has their own functions of collating data. And based on the data that they are collating, is the responsibility of the data analyst to help to provide insight to that data. So for tonight, we'll be working on some multiple data and see how we can consolidate those data together and do some functionalities to that data. So in our data, let me go to the desktop. Let me go to the desktop. And I think I need to admit some people in. Okay. Let me go to the desktop. Please, as you're coming in, ensure that you mute your mic, please, so that everyone can hear us. So we'll be working with this data. This data set here is the data I have also provided for us for our custom project. So the second project that you're given now, this is the data you'll be working on. So I'm just going to make use of this data to show us some things and how to consolidate those data in our work that we have. So we will be making use of this data. This data is actually a sales data. It's a sales performance data that is collected from various customers, from product categories, product subcategories, the returns, and also to some data that relate to their territories. So this is the data we'll be working on. If you look at this data, you see that here we are having about 3 of those data sets collected. Here we are having about 6 of those data sets collected. In each of these data, they they have various numbers of informations that are inside these data. So as we proceed to open some of those information, we'll be seeing it on our Power BI. So let's move forward from here. Let's move forward. I just want to be admitting. I don't want people to just be joining. Okay, so this is my Power BI environment. Here we said that when we want to import our data into our when we want to import our data into our Power BI, we come to the get data. Please ensure that you go through the first video recording that we have. It to expose you on how to make use of all of these features and what each of those features represent. So in this place now, I might choose to get the data by using Excel, workbook, and all of this we have is the extensions of these data that we want to use. Now, another features that we can use, if I go to more now, you will see that in this place now, I can use a folder here. If you look at this folder can enable me to just browse to where that data is. And I will import the entire folder into this place. I can use that procedures. But when we go to our data, let's go to our data again. You will notice that in the data that we have here, I think I just need to open that data down. Let me go to my desktop again. Please just ensure that you follow me. Let me close this. Now, if you look at this data that I have here, this raw data that I have here, you see that this data is not an Excel file. If it's an Excel file, what you will be seeing at the extension is .xlx. But in this case, you are seeing .xcxv. So you have to look at the nature of the data, the extension files of the data. This is CSV. It doesn't mean that when I want to connect with this data from Power BI, I must connect it using CSV file. So coming down to this place, you will see that if I go to get, you see I have Excel workbook. If it's an Excel file, I'm going to make use of this. I can have a data flow file, data vaults, SQL server. If I'm connecting to a database, analysis services, text, I can connect to a web. We have talked about how you can connect to a web, where it will just extract all of the data from the web. But the data we are dealing with, the data set we are dealing with tonight is on the area of CSV. That is the data set we are dealing with tonight. So if I want to connect to that data, I'm going to be using this CSV. But first, I just want to show us if I need to connect to the data using a folder, I can come here. I'll go to folder. These are other files that are also there. These are other files that I can connect with. So as a data analyst, ensure that you know your extension file before you begin to connect to it. If your data set comes with an extension of Excel and you are using CSV to connect to it, you might be having some challenges with that data. So for instance, here, let me go back to all. I will say folder. Please just ensure that you are following me. There's going to be a replay of this class, so you can choose to look at it again. So if I click on folder, I click on folder, I'm going to browse to the location where I have the file. I think I have the file on my desktop. The name of the file is raw data in this in Power BI. Now, in this raw data, I have data for master file, master sales FY. In this sales, I can just connect to it because I'm using the folder. So it's going to import all of the data that are collected under the master file. So all the files that I have under this folder is what is going to connect to it in my Power BI. So if I just say okay, okay, you see it's going to import all of that data here. Let's look at this, it's loading. Now, can you see the data I'm having? Here, I'm having data for sales 2015, sales 2016, and sales 2017. This is the record of all of the data that I have. So once I now have this, I will just simply say that it should combine these three data. So I can say combine these three data. I can also say transform these three data if I need to transform these three data. But that's the process by which you can just load through that our folder. If I need to load through the folder, so it's either so it's just like showing you a kind of shortcut by which you can just take up all the data sets in the particular folder and just upload it here. So that is the process. If I choose to, I say when you are loading, you will load when you have a clean data set. And when you are transforming, you are going to use this transform data when your data set has not been cleaned. It has not been transformed. That means we still need to perform transformations to our data. Maybe our data type is not set, our date parameters still need to be set. Some are still in uppercase or lowercase, or we need to transform what name is maybe to some parameters, things like that. That's when we use the transform data. But when we use the load, it means that the data is already clean. This combine is what we enable you to combine all of this information to be loaded into the Power BI that we have. But that's not our focus. Let's take it one by one for the benefit of those that are just joining this class to be able to gain one or two things from it. Okay. All right. I'm back. So in this place now, let's see. I'm going to be making use of CSV because the extension file is the CSV. So I'll just come here. What I will simply do, let me load the one for master file. Now you can see immediately I click on master file, it shows me all of the data set that is inside. Why? Because the data set that is inside that I'm loading now is not through a folder. I want to load them one after the other. So I can just come to sales 2015, then load it. Please let's follow through. In this case, I cannot just say load. This load is not advisable to use when you are just getting your data. So it's better for you to transform it so that you see how your data looks like. So I'll just click on transform. It's going to load my data into my Power Query. It's going to load my data into my Power Query. And you see, this is how my data is. This is how my data is. In this data now, I'm having order date, stock date, order number, product key, customer key, territory key, order line item, order this. This is what I have. And it has a of rows. I think this rows is having close to maybe 9,000 plus data is what I have. You can see under here it's showing that I'm having 999 plus rows in this place, and I'm having 8 columns. If you look at all of these headings here, you see that there are about 8 columns, but 999 plus rows. This data here is about 8,000 plus data that we have imported here. But what we have imported here is just one data. So I can go back to my Power Query. I can go back to my Power Query. Let me go and load this another data. That's CSV. 2016. I load my data, is loading. Let me go and admit. Now this is my data. So I go to transform to go to my Power Query immediately. Now this is 2015. This is my 2016. Let's go back to go and load other ones that we have there. We are just loading our data into it. I want to load all the data, 2017. This class is going to be a live practical class. So I'm going to be showing you some things. Just ensure that you are following me. Let's go and load other details that we have here. I finished loading all these. Let's go back. Let me load customer, loading all the data. I just want to load them one by one so that I can follow the process. If I should just load it through the folder, you might not see all the data that I'm loading into my Power Query. So that's why I'm following them one by one so that I can also follow the steps. I won't want us to jump steps tonight. Product category. I'm loading my product category. Ensure that when you are loading, you don't click your load because you might have issues with it. You don't know whether it's a clean or data or it's not a clean data. Maybe it's a raw data or it's a clean data. So you use your transform so that I can see how your data is being represented. So I've done for products category. Let's go to next. Products. Let's go to products. As I'm doing that, it's loading it up into my Power Query. Yes, this is also loaded. Let's go to the next data. You'll be loading it from your Power BI desktop. Please don't forget. I come back here, product subcategory. I will have loaded all of this into my Power Query, but because I just want us to follow the steps, that's why I'm taking my time to just load everything up. Product subcategory has been loaded. Let's go to the next one. Okay, returns. Okay, in this return transform. Let's go to the next one. So I'm loading my last data now. Territories. My territory is loading up. It's loading up into my Power Query. Now, all of my data has been loaded. You can see we have about 9 data sets here that has been loaded. That's why it's showing me here. This is my sales data. This is for 2015, 2016, 2017, the customer data, the product category data, the product data, the product subcategories, the returns, and the territory. So these are all the data that I've loaded into my Power BI. So we can follow that process tree to know how our data could be loaded into our Power Query. So having load your data, what are we going to do? Okay, let's look at what we are going to be doing to this data. In the sales 2015, let me look at all these data that I'm having here. In the sales 2015, okay, let me look at all of my data. It's okay. Let me change all these product ID that I'm having here. Let me change all these product ID, product key. Let me change it to product ID. The reason why I'm changing this is when I begin to explain my primary key and foreign key, you'll be able to understand it. Just right click on it, go to rename and say customer ID. Everywhere I'm having key, I'm going to be changing it to ID so that I can have a good representation of my I can have a good representation of my headings when I'm explaining primary and secondary key and foreign key. I mean, okay, this is fine. Let's go to 2016 product ID. I'm just renaming all of this. Let's go to customer ID. I'm still having territory key. I'm going to change it to territory ID. You still see the reason why I'm changing all of this. By the time we begin to explain, let me go to the next one. Sales 2017 product ID, customer ID. This is also part of data cleaning to just ensure that all my headings are matching the right parameters. So it's also part of it. We are still going to do some data cleaning to this data because I'm seeing some things already. Let me look at this customer ID. Let me change it. Customer ID. Let's come back here. Is there anyone that is still having a key? Okay, none. Let's go to products. Product category. Here we are having product category key. Let's change it to product category ID. Let's go to products. Product ID. It's more or less like I'm doing data cleaning already. So please just follow me. Products category ID. Okay, what else am I having? Okay. Let me show. Okay. I think this is fine. Let's go to product subcategory. Let me change this to product subcategory ID. Product category key. Let's change it to product category ID. Let's go to return. Territory ID. Product ID. I'm just changing all of this so that I can have a very good explanation to my primary and foreign key when I'm explaining. Okay, so I think I've done justice to that. Please, if you can still hear me, kindly drop a thumb up on the chat box. If you can still hear me. All right. Thank you. Yes, I want to believe everybody is following what I'm doing. So I have done this. Now let's look at our data consolidation. How do we do a data consolidation? When we want to do a data consolidation, it means that data consolidation has to do with combining two or more data together to just have one data. And for us to combine two or more data together, there are some rules that we need to follow. One of the rules is that the data must be having the same number of columns. The data you want to combine must be having the same number of columns. That's one. And two, the data must be having the same number of attributes. Now, if you look at this data for sales 2015, sales 2016, sales 2017, you will see that for 2015 is having order date, stock date, order number, product ID, customer ID, territory territory ID, order line item, order quantity. So if you are to look at this, let's even count it. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. That is having about 8 columns. And the 8 columns are having some of these headings. Let's look at sales 2016. Now you see in sales 2016, we have order date, stock date, order number, product ID, customer ID, territory ID, order line item. So it's like the headings are the same. This also having 8 number of columns. In 2015, 2017, order date, stock date, order number is also having 8 number of columns here. It means that these data that we have, though the data might have been collected from different departments, that data that have been collected from different departments have a similar data set. It has a similar data set in the sense that this one was collected 2015, 2016, 2017, but the data sets that were used as an attribute are the same. So because I'm having this, it is easier for me to do a data consolidation to this sales data 2015, 2016, and 2017. If I go to customer, let's go to customer. You see that here I'm having customer ID, prefix, first name, last name. It's not the same thing as what I'm having here. And when you look at the customer data, you see that the number of columns are even more than that one. So I cannot do a data consolidation on it. If I come to product category, I cannot do a data consolidation on it. This is just two number of columns. This one too, if you look at it, the number of columns are different. It's having more number of columns. And the attributes are also different. So the ones I can consolidate is this sales data for 2015, 2016, and 2017. Now, let's look at something. In this 2015 now, in this 20, trying to just admit. So in this 2015 now, let me come here. We have done all of this before, so I'm just trying to put us through. Now, in this 2015, if I come to this place now, I will only be seeing the data. Let me look at if I come to this data now, let me come here. You will see that in this filter of this data, if I should just do this, you see that all what I'm seeing here is the data for 2015, 2015, 2015, 2015, 2015, down like that. If I come to data for 2016, I will only be seeing data for 2016 alone, down like that. If I come to 2015, 2017, I will just be seeing data for 2017 alone like this. So this is what I'll be having. But when I do a data consolidation, all of these three, sales for 2015, 2016, 2017, will be consolidated into one data. That's what we call data consolidation. It will be consolidated into one data. So how do we consolidate this into one data? So I'll click on this. Then I will now come to append query. This is my append query. Under my home, I will now come here to combine. I want to combine the data. That's data consolidation. I'll come to append query. Once I click on this append query, now it's saying that how many data set tables did I want to concatenate? Concatenate rows from 2 tables into a single table. I'm going to do 2 tables if it's 2 tables. But yeah, I'm having about 3 tables. So I can just say, no, I want 3 tables. The current tables that I've clicked is showing sales 2015. So I can say I need for sales 2016. I need for sales 2017. Now, in this case, now I cannot combine these two because the number of columns that I'm having here is different, and their attributes are also different. But I can consolidate these three. So once I do this, I will just click on OK. Now, immediately I click on OK, you see that in this data now, let me try to filter this data. You will see that in this data I'm having here, if I scroll down, this is 2015. Let me go to load more. I scroll down. You see 2016. Can you see 2016? 2017. So it has combined all of this data I have here. 20 sales data 2015, 2016, 2017 has been combined into this data, sales data 2015. So what I will just simply do, this is a sales data for 2015. So I will just rename it here to say to 2017. To 2017. So I have already done a data consolidation to this. So all of this data here is already here. So I don't need this data again. What I need in this data is this sales data that I'm having here. So that is that. What else can we do on this aspect? Let's start with some of the levels of formatting that we could do to this. Let's look at some of the levels of formatting. Let's go to customer. Let's see customer. Now look at this. You see that in the customer data, we are having prefix, first name, and last name. This is not meant to be. You are just having Mr., Mrs. Then first name and last name is already separated. So if I'm working with my data and I want to get what is, for instance, I want to know the top customer that buy a particular product, that have the highest number of product bought, I'm going to be having challenges with this data. So what I will simply do to this data is to just come here, hold my control down, click here, click here. Then once this is done, I'm going to merge this data together. I'm going to merge this data together. That's what I can do to that data. I'm going to merge the data together so that all of the prefix, first name, and last name can come together. So how am I going to merge this? I can just say merge query. Let me go under my columns and say that merge columns. I can just put this and say merge columns. What am I merging columns as? Space. You should use space. You might decide to use a column if what you are merging together is in a column. But here it's space. I want to have Mr. This. That's, for instance, where I'm having Mr. John Yang. It's going to be Mr. space John space Yang. So I want to use space. In this space, I can say name, column name. What is going to be the column name now? I can say customer name. I can say customer name. Let me just name this as customer name. And click on OK. Now, can you see what it has done to this data now? Automatically, it has merged this data into what we have here. What else can we do to this data? There are other things that we can do. I can choose to change it to all lowercase. I can choose to change it to all uppercase. I can choose to say no, capitalize each word. We have done all of this before. I can apply some trim to it, prefix and suffix and all of that. We've done that. Okay, let's move forward. This column is empty. I'm not seeing any data here. But to confirm further, you can just come here and check just click on this arrow down, then check what you have. This is showing all blank. This is all blank. It means there is no data in all of this column. Since we didn't have data in this column, what are we going to do? Just right click and say remove. Can you see that? So automatically this is removed. Okay, so what else can we do? Let's let's make progress on this. What else can we do? Okay, can you see the marital status is showing M and X? We don't know what M and X represent, but for marital status, M means married, X means singles. So I can choose to just come here to just come and change these parameters and say replace value. I'll just right click and say so here I can just say replace value and say replace M and replace value to find M, replace it with married. I can just say okay. I'm doing data formatting, please, so that you can just follow me. Replace value. I can say X. Let it be replaced with single. Single. Now, can you see that this data is looking well formatted? I can also do the same thing to this place. Right click it, replace value, go to M, let it be replaced with male. Come here, replace value. F, let it be replaced with female because we are dealing with gender. Then automatically. So let's look at our data again. Let's see other things that might be wrong with our data. Annual income, total children, educational background. Okay, let's change this, replace value. Yes, we just want to have a good representation. Let it be yes, because Y can mean anything. N can also mean anything. So we change N to no. N to no. Homeowner. Do they own a house? Yes, they don't own a house. Let it be no. Okay. I think this is good. Let's check other data and see if you are having any issues with other data that we are having. Product category. I think this is fine. This is not having any issue. This is fine. Products. Let's look at products. In products, I'm just scanning through. I think for product 2 is fine. Okay, product is fine. In product subcategory, okay, I think this is also fine. In return, this is also fine. Let's go to territory. Territory is just having a few data. I think this is also fine. So let's come back to sales. This is where I have my sales. Order, customer ID, customer this. Okay, there's another formatting I can do. Let's go to customer. Here I'm having annual income of a customer. Let me select this and say, let's see. Let me come to home. Please hold on. This type is in fixed decimal number. Is in fixed decimal number. Okay, is it? Okay, is in decimal number. Okay, can still leave it. Change type. Okay, it's a fixed decimal number. Transform to round power. Okay, we are just looking at dictate data type. I think this data type is still okay. Educational and professional. Uh, I want to see. Okay, is in dollar. Okay. Okay, I think this is fine. Let's I'm just trying to check to ensure that we are applying the right functions. I'm looking for currency. Mm, transform. Okay, I think I've already applied it. All right. In that case, now let's look at our data. Let's check whether they are duplicate to this data that we are having. If you want to check a duplicate to this data, let me come back to sales. Let's start with it one by one. And I come here and I say, check this place now. If I say you should check for duplicate, uh, if I say duplicate, you should check for duplicate here, remove duplicate or keep duplicate. Here it's going to align the duplicate in these particular columns. It then means that if you remove duplicate for these particular columns, you are going to have issues with the other columns that you are having because other columns are having values in them. So you can't just remove duplicate here. But when I come here and I say it should remove duplicate, I mean that it should remove duplicate for all the sets of attributes that I have here. That means remove duplicate for order date, stock date, order number, product ID. This remove duplicate for everything. So the best to use here is to come here because this will apply to all the things that you are doing. For instance, before we remove, let me do keep duplicate and see whether they are duplicate to our data. Let's see. Let's see what it's going to give us. Now, this is showing saying that this table is empty. That means there is no duplicate. So I can just say, okay, remove duplicates. I have said that the Power BI, there is nothing like undo in Power BI. What Power BI does is to apply steps. And if you want to undo, you will undo the steps that you have done. So I can just say, remove this to keep duplicate from here. So to bring back all my data back. Let's go to customer and check duplicate. Keep duplicate. Let's see if there's any duplicate here. No duplicate. That's fine. Let me remove it. Let's go to product category. Remove duplicate. Of course, we can see this clearly here. So there are no duplicates to these data that we are having, to this data. So let's go to products and say keep duplicates. Let's see, keep duplicates. Let's see if they are duplicates. Before you remove duplicates, ensure that you check for the keep duplicate so that you know the duplicate that is removing from your data. This is also fine. Let's go to product category, keep duplicates, uh, keep duplicates, keep duplicates. Let's see. Okay, this is also fine. Let's come to return. In return, let's see, keep duplicates. Okay, this is also fine. Territory. I'm still doing data cleaning, so that we can ensure that our data are free from errors. Okay, this is also fine. So we've checked all of this and we have ensured that all of our data are okay. You can ensure that all of our data are okay here. So what I'm going to do next, since we have checked for duplicate and there is no duplicate, I can choose to view all the qualities of my data. Let's go to sales. Go to view. let's say column dot quality. Let's look at the quality of our data. Now, once I click this, it will bring this out. You can see that here it's saying that valid is 100%, color error is 0%, empty is 0%. So it means this data is a very good data. Did you see that? Now let's go to customer. And see, look at the quality. It's still the same. Why? Because we are checking for duplicates, and this one is showing us that there is no duplicate. See the product category, it's still the same. The returns is the same. This is also the same. So I can choose to do all of this. I can choose to also look at the column distribution. Can you see the column distribution? This is not having any error. If it's having any error, it will give you an indication of red to show that there are errors with this data. So you can check. If I check for customer, it will also give me the same. If I check for product category, product, territory, I can check for all of that. So it means it's also okay. I can choose to also check for the column profile. This is the column profile, saying that count is 10, error is 0, empty is this, all of this, and all of that. Still showing that, yes, my data is okay. So I don't need all of this. I can just remove them. I don't need it. I can just remove them. Then come back to sales. Come back to sales. Now let's move forward. This is where I'm going to be explaining our primary key and secondary key. This is where I'm going to be explaining our primary key and secondary key. Now, if you look at this data, let me come to the data on let's say customer. Now let me come to the data of customer. In this data of customer, you will notice that here we are having the customer ID, customer name, birth date, milestone status, gender, and all of that. In this customer ID that we are having here is a unique number. Is a unique value that is specially assigned to customers. It then means that there is no two customers that can have this same customer ID. But it is possible that in customer name, we are having two customers that is bearing the same name. It is possible. And both can also still be male, or they can also still be female. We can have date of birth that same people born on the same date, the same month, and also the same year. It is possible. But you cannot have a customer ID that is the same, because it's single, is a single number that is uniquely assigned to a customer of this data. Is a number that is specially assigned for a customer. It's just like when you say you are a customer for a bank. In a bank, you have a customer account. The main essence of that customer account is to serve as a primary key to only you, but no any other customer. So there is nobody else that can have that same account number that have been assigned to you. And some of us that go through the higher institution system will see that in higher institution, we are assigned a matric number. And it's that matric number that you are going to use till the end of your program. Even after your program, maybe you want to collect your certificate, is that matric number they are going to use to identify you as a person. So in a table, when we have this unique number, in this unique number that we are having, in a particular table, it is called a primary key. This unique number, it is called a primary key. There is no other customer that can have this number. So in this table now, the primary key is this customer ID. No any other customer can have that number. Now, when we now look at that primary key that we have, you will notice that in that primary key that we have, you will notice that here, this is a primary key. If I go to product category, okay, let's go to product. Let's go to product. In product, you have product ID. This product ID is uniquely assigned to a particular product is still serving as a primary key here. This product ID that we have here is serving as a primary key. If I come to product subcategory, you see this one too is uniquely assigned. No any other customers can have this. Let's go to return. Can you see? Now look at this now. In this return here, I'm having a product ID in this number, in this return. But under product, I'm also having a product ID. In this product here, the product ID is a primary key. No any other person can share this product ID. No any other person can share it. But if I go to return, this product ID is no longer a primary key because this can also be shared by other customers. If you look at here, you see that here I'm having 311. There's another customer that is also having 311 because it is not a primary key. It is not uniquely assigned to a particular customer. So this product ID in this table is what we refer to as a foreign key. But this in this product sales is what we refer to as a primary key. But in this return table, it is called a foreign key. Now let's look at sales. Look at this sales here. In this sales here, this is product ID. This is product ID. When we come to products, that's product ID. When you come to product customer, you have customer ID. In this place, you have product ID and customer ID. Now look at this customer ID. This customer ID is a primary key here because it's uniquely assigned to a particular customer. The same way we are having a customer for 11000. You cannot have any other customer that we have this customer ID 11000. But in this sales here, you see that customer ID for this one can also occur at multiple times here because it is no longer a primary key, it is a foreign key. It is no longer a primary key, it is a foreign key in this place. So it is essential for you to know the differences between that primary key and a foreign key. A primary key uniquely identify a value in a table, while the foreign key can have a link to that primary key, but it can have a multiple customers having that same values. So that's what we call the primary key and the foreign key. So having known that, what's the next thing we have to do? Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Now, let's look at how to find in this sales now. Let's look at how to find a revenue. How do we find our revenue in this table? In this table now, if you want to look for a revenue, let's look in this sales table. You know, revenue is the money, is the amount that is generated by the company itself. Let's say the company says, we want to know the revenue that was made by this particular company. In this case now, look at it here. This is all what we are having here. Customer ID, territory ID, this. Let me go to customer. Let's see if we have revenue. We have annual income, total children, educational background, home owners, and all of that. Let's go to product category. No. Let's go to products. This is the product sold. Here we have product cost, product price. We have product price. Well, if you want to find a revenue, your revenue is the order quantity and the product price. What you ordered and the product price is your revenue. Is your revenue. Your order quantity, the number of quantity of product that you have ordered, then the the amount that you have sold each product is what makes up all your revenue in that organization. But in this case, you will notice that the order quantity, let's look for order quantity. Please ensure you are following me. This let me go to customer. Do I have order quantity here? Yes, this is order quantity. Let me filter this order quantity. You will see that in this order quantity, load more. Let me load more. You see that in this order quantity, some customers order for one, where the companies order for one product at a time, or they all order for that product twice, or they order for that product 3 times. This is what this means. So in this category now, you see that, yeah, I'm having one, one, one. So I can also have two, two, two. I can have three, three, like that. This is what I'm having in this order quantity. Order quantity is under the sales. But the product price, if I go to products, is under products. This is the product price. Is under products. Is under product. But for me to find my revenue have to be order quantity multiplied by product price. But they are in a different table. So what I need to do in that case is to see how to merge the table together. Is to see how to merge that table together. So how do I merge this table together? I will go to my sales, because in my sales here, I'm having my order quantity in this sales. No, so if I go to this sales, what I will simply do is to, if I want to merge this now, I will come to, let me go back to my home and say, in this place now, I say merge query. I say, if I say merge query, it's going to merge the two tables and create a column for it under the selection that I have in this sales. But if I say merge query as new, if I'm merging query as new, it means that it's going to create a different table entirely to create that columns for me. So what I will simply do is to just click this and say merge query. Now in this merge query, I'm having sales. In this sales, what did I want to return? I want to see products. But in products, I will look at this now. Now look at this. The reason why this is possible is because here now I'm having product ID. Product ID can also be merged with product ID. So you can see automatically it's given, because this is a product ID as a primary key, and this is a product ID as a foreign key. So it then means that they have a relationship with each other. There is a relationship between these table products and the table sales between each other. So in this case, if you look at it, immediately I selected it, it said the selection matches 56,046 or 56,046. It means the number of rows of that tables are the same. Do you understand? So I can say that now, in this case now, I can say, okay, it should return join kind left outer. That means in that table of sales, it should return it at that point. So I can say, okay. Once I say okay now, you see what's going to happen. Now, can you see that it returns that product here under the sales table? Now, under this sales table, what I'm interested to return now is, we have our order quantity, but we don't have product price. So I can say now, okay, come and help me to return product price. I will uncheck all of this and say I return product price. I might need product cost. Let's return it once and for all and say okay. Now, can you see what it has returned here for me? Now, what it has returned here now, here I can just say, let me format this. This is uh, product costs. This is, let me look this. This is product price. So in this case, let me format this one. Fix decimal. Let it return it in dollar. Of course, this should be in dollar. Turn it in dollar. So this is what I'm having now. Now, with what I've done now, it's easier for me to now look for what my revenue is going to be. But here we said that our revenue is order quantity, this order quantity here, multiplied by product price, which we have product price here. So what I'm going to do is to just select order quantity, hold my control, then select product price for me to get my revenue. Then once that is done, I will come to add columns. Then I'll come to standard and say multiply. Now, this multiplication now we have is this multiplication we have now is the order quantity multiplied by product price. This is what it has returned. Now, this product price and this one is, let's rename this so that I will not make mistake. Revenue. This is our revenue. Now, in this revenue, it is not the same thing with product price. Revenue is not the same thing with product price. Why? Because in this revenue, okay, let's check. In this revenue, there are some revenues that are not the same. Let's check. Let me check the quantity, order quantity now. Let's say it should return 2 and 3. You see what's going to happen? Can you see that the value here and this one, they are not the same because it's multiplying this one with this one. But we don't need that. Let's go back. So this is our revenue. It has given us what our revenue should be. So another thing we might also want to find out here is to know the profit. Is to know our profit. And what is our profit? Our profit is revenue minus the total cost. It's revenue minus total cost. That's our profit. And you know, in an organization now, it's after everything that have come into an organization, then you now remove what your total cost is. The cost of the product, the cost of transportation, running costs, and all of that. When you remove all of that, what is remaining is now your profit. It's now your profit. But for us to find our profit, we need to multiply the order quantity multiplied by product cost. Because this order quantity must be multiplied by product cost. It's order quantity that will be multiplied by product cost to give us the total cost. Because this is our order quantity. This is our product cost. It's when we multiply that we can now have the total cost. It's the total cost now that will now subtract from revenue to give us the product. This is just a little arithmetics, just like buying and selling and all that. So in this case now, I can say, okay, select the order quantity, hold your control, then select your product price. I'll select my product price and say, okay, help me to multiply it. Once I multiply it now, this value I have here is what is my total cost. I can call this one total cost. This is my total cost. Please let me admit. Please just ensure you are following. Please, if you can still hear me, just drop a thumb up, please, please. I just want to ensure that you are following what I'm doing. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is my total cost I'm having here. This is my total cost. Now, because I find my total cost, it's easier for me to know what the profit is, because the profit will now be the revenue minus total cost. So it's the total cost that is subtracted from the profit. So here I'll just say revenue, hold your shift, minus total cost. Now, mind you, the one you select first is the one that will come on your left hand side when you are subtracting. And the one you select after is the one that will come on your left hand side. So if I select revenue and now hold my shift, I select total. What I'm simply saying is that revenue minus total cost. But if I select total cost, I hold my shift and I say revenue. What I'm simply saying is that total cost minus revenue. So you must be very, very careful on what you're selecting here. So you do revenue minus total cost because we want to look for a profit. I will now say subtract. Yeah. What is it giving me? Sorry, it's like we've done something. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, what did I do here? My my total cost is order quantity. Is order quantity now. It's order quantity plus product costs. Oh, I think I've selected the wrong thing to get the total cost. Okay, this is order quantity minus. Oh, let me look at the total cost. Please hold on. Uh, oh, sorry, let me remove this. The total cost. Okay, I've gotten my revenue. Please, I'm just trying to undo what I've done. I've gotten my revenue here. And for my profit, it's supposed to be order quantity multiplied by product cost. Supposed to be product cost. So I did it with product price. So multiply by product cost. This is multiply. So this one is supposed to be total cost. Total cost. This total cost. Then for for our profit is now supposed to be revenue minus. I said the one you choose first will determine what you are using to subtract it. So this revenue minus, hold down your control, total cost. Then this will come and say subtract. Okay. So here is my profit. You can say This is part of what the data analysts go through. So this is my profit. Now, I already have my revenue, my total cost, my profit, my product price, product cost. I have all of this already. So what else can I do? Okay, I think I've done. Let me just check the quality to ensure that it has not introduced error. Okay, there's no error. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So in this case now, I have done, I'm done with formatting. I'm done with formatting. Except if an organization is asking you to help to find, depending on the insight of what you want to discover in your data. For instance, an organization can say, okay, we want to know, in this case now, we have find the profit, the revenue, the total cost, and all of that. An organization will want to say that they might want to say that they want to see the average cost for a particular for that particular data that we have found. We want to know the average cost in for that number of years that we have. So what you just need to do is to now look at, okay, if I want to find my average cost, what parameters am I going to be using to find my average cost? So as it is now, we are done in our data. We are done with our data. So what you will now simply do is to now load your data into Power BI desktop. Now, loading our data into Power BI desktop is a different thing entirely because I said that in when you are connecting to your data from Power BI, we can either load or transform. We came to this Power Query because we want to transform our data, and that's what we have done to just ensure that our data is not having some anomalies, some duplicates, and all of that. So after that is done, you now go ahead. It means that your data is now clean. Once your data is clean, you now go ahead to load it into your Power BI. So you just come to home. Then once you are under your home, just come to here. If you do close and apply, it means that you should close the Power Query, then open the Power BI desktop for you. But if you just say apply, it means that both the Power Query and Power BI will still be open. And if you say close, it means you want to close everything. But now I'm not done with what I'm doing. So I can just say close and apply. So once I click this, it will go and load my data into my Power BI. Let's wait for it. It's loading my data now. Let's be patient. It's loading my data. Now, can you see what we have now? Now, it has loaded our data into this place that we have. But what it loaded into our data is all of the data that we have. But this sales data 2016, 2017, I don't need it again because I have already consolidated it into the sales 2015 to 2017. So what I will just simply do is let's go back to our Power Query, transform data. Uh, let's go back to our Power Query. I'm supposed to have disabled that particular data because I don't need it anymore. So what I will do here is to just come here, right click on this data and say disable load. I will disable the load of this because I don't need it again. I will come back here and say disable load. I will uncheck it to disable load. Okay, so you see that is already on check. It's already on check here also. So let's go back to go and load it. Let's go back. You can choose to just refresh it. Then let's go back to load it and see what is going to happen. I'm loading it into my Power BI desktop now. Now it has finished loading. Now, can you see that the data for sales 2016, 2017 is no longer in this data field. So I'm only having my customer, product category, subcategory, product returns, and sales 2015. Now, because I have already consolidated the data into this place, so I don't need all of those other parameters again. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go to our data model. Now, let's go to our data model and see our data model. Yeah, I've talked about different views that we have in Power BI desktop. And I said that we have the report view. This is called the report view. I have the table view and we have the model view. This model view is the view that connects several relationships together. The the relationship between different tables, different data that we have is this model view that connects them together. But yeah, we also have the DAX query view. The DAX query is data analysis expression. We call it data analysis expression, but we don't take this in this class. We take it in our advanced class. This is for advanced data analysts to use. So if I go to my model view, you see what is going to happen. Look at the way my model view is. Now, in this model view, you will notice that my tables are already connected somehow. Why? Because the the AI in Power in Power BI has already helped you to relate those tables together as those tables are being represented. Now look at all what we are having here. You see, let me bring it up for us to see properly. These are you see that there are a lot of connections that we have here. The AI has already helped us to just connect those data together in different forms. Uh, Let me just choose to still drop this here. Are we still having any other data? Okay, territory. Territory is somewhere here. Let me bring it here. Please hold on. Just follow me. I pray we get to our promised land tonight. Pray. Let's calm down. Okay. Can you see this data model? So the AI has already connected all of this for me automatically. But if you notice that the table for the data set of territory and the table for the territory, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we still have some tables that are still hiding. Let's see. Okay, the tables for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have eliminated 2. That's for 2016 and 20. So the table for territory, you see that is not connected here. But the AI have succeeded in recognizing other tables having relationship between themselves automatically. Sometimes you might choose to connect this yourself. I can choose to, if I go to this manage relationship now, I can choose to undo all of this by coming here and say delete all the relationship. If I say delete all the relationship, I can now connect those relationship myself. So how do we connect relationship? If you look at this relationship, you see that here is saying that we have many. Whenever you see this star, it's showing many to one relationship. That means this relationship is having many data that are related to just one categories here. So this is serving like the primary key. Then in this place, it becomes the foreign key here. This is one to many. This is many to one. This is one to many. This is many to one. So it's having that relationship between each other in that table that we have. So when the AI can we have in Power BI automatically helps us to just do the connections and the relationship between the data that we have here. And that's why we're having all of these connections that we have. You too can also choose to do it yourself. But mind you, when you are connecting your tables together, ensure that you are not connecting many to many. In this relationship, your cardinality that you have here, let's say I want to build a new relationship. In this new relationship, you can have this cardinality. Let me just pick a table. Let's say products. Oh, it's not showing. Products. Product ID. Let me come here. Customer ID. Do we have customer ID? Okay, let me choose sales. Okay, like this now. Products. Sorry, I'm just looking at what I can use to. Let's look at products. Now, if you look at this, there are cardinalities that have relationship. This is saying there is already a relationship between the two because we already have a relationship between them. So when we are doing a connection, we can either have one to many, one to one, many to one. But when you're having many to many is not a good relationship to use for this data set. It's not a good relationship to use. So this is the data set. This is the relationship that exists between those data that we could have. So the AIS automatically helps us to have a relationship between them and to connect them together. In this case now, let's just look at it. I can say manage relationship and say uh, uh, delete everything. If I delete it, you see that the relationship that I have as a connection there will just go. Now, can you see that there's no relationship between all of these data sets that I have again? There's no relationship. So sometimes I can connect it myself. The AI connects it and to have a relationship because it's just looking at various columns that are having the same attribute and connecting them together. Sometimes it might not apply that way. So you have to look at the relationship that connect various data together that you have in that your parameters. So let's see how we can connect it ourselves. Let's look at in this let me bring it on here. You can choose to arrange it yourself, or it will still give you the kind of connections that you want. Doesn't matter. So in this case now, let's say here I'm having product ID, then I have product ID here. This can have a relationship between each other. I'm having product ID. There's also a product ID here. So I can say this product ID under product is primary key. This becomes a secondary key. You see the connection. Now it's saying product ID should have a relationship with this product ID. With this product ID under sales. Now, this is saying one to many relationship. It's saying one to many relationships. So I can just connect it. Now, can you see? This is one to many relationship. That's built a relationship for me. Then in this case too, you could see that product ID, there's product ID relating to each other. If I bring this here, there's going to be a connection. There's going to be a connection. Now, this connection now is saying that this connection is not a good connection. Why? Because it's having many to many relationship. So this is not a cardinality that you should use. It will disrupt your data. It's not a cardinality you should use. So don't ever use many to many when it's giving you such relationship. So this is not advisable. Why? Because in this product ID, this is already a primary key, this is already a foreign key. I cannot have another primary key here. So it is not possible. So I have to return this with something different. Okay, let's move forward. This customer ID, I can choose to connect it to another customer ID here because they have a relationship between each other. But this is also showing me for customer ID one to many. So here you can connect. You see the relationship. This is many to one relationship. Yeah, many to one relationship. So this has a connection. Let's see what else we can also connect. Product category ID. Let's see. This is also product category ID. And they have a relationship. Yes. This product category ID, this product category ID. This is primary key. This is foreign key. One to many relationship. So this can exist. This can exist. So sales territory ID. Mm, mm. Now, can you look at this now? This sales territory ID and sales territory ID and territory ID can mean to be the same. Let's go to let's go to uh, sales territory ID. Do we have sales territory ID here? Let's look at it. This can mean to be the same, but we can go back to go and check our data to see what is giving us. Let's go to our report view. Under our report view, let's go to transform data. Let me see what we are checking actually. Sales territory under territory and territory ID under return. So let's go to transform data. Let's go to transform data. Now you will see something here in this transform data under return. Territory ID, you can see that here is having just 1 to 10 in territory ID. Let's go to the territory ID under territory. This is also having 1 to 10. So this is supposed to have a relationship between each other, but the headings are different. So what I will just simply do, I can just rename this and say, let this one be territory ID. So once I rename, I'll come here and say transform my data. Oh, let's see in my Power Query, refresh. Let me refresh it and see what it's going to give me. Now, can you see that this has turned to territory ID by what I just apply now? Now, this is saying many to one. So this territory ID, that means this can have a relationship with each other. Yeah, this is a relationship. So what else can we return here? Customer ID. Can this customer ID relate with this? Let's see. So it's saying there's a relationship between this column. Okay, we've done a relationship. This is also relating. Can you see that with what I've done now, I'm relating all of it together. Product ID. Yeah, I want them to have product category ID. Do we have product category ID? Okay, this has connected. Okay, so yeah, we have connected all our data together. That's it. That's it. So from here now, I can now begin to visualize my data in various forms. The major reason for relationship are very, very important to our tables to have a connections. Because if you don't have a good connections in your relationship, your data might be scattered and you might not be able to arrange your data accordingly the way you are supposed to arrange your data. Because when you now go to your report view, you might be having challenges with some of the data that is being represented. For instance, let's go to the report view. Because I've connected everything now to just give me the right data that I want to have. Let's come here and say, please help me to return. I want to know I want to know the total revenue. If I say I want to know the total revenue, uh, I want to know revenue by uh, let's say I want to know my total revenue. Let me use my card view. Now, this is my total revenue that I have here. This is my total revenue. Can you see the visualization? This is a card view now. This visualization is just giving me why? Because I've connected everything together. So it's easier for it to just give me a total revenue of what I have. I might want to say that, okay, let me look at I want to see, let me see total profit. Total profit. I'll just click here. This is the total profit that I have here. So, but for today, we are not teaching visualization. I'm going to try to look at the recording video on the area of visualization. So for now, I think we'll just stop here. I have showed you from this point that we have gotten to now, what you just need to now do, these are our table. What you just need to now do is to start up your visualization from here. Maybe I want to look for the total revenue, the total profit, the total cost, the total return, the total quantity sold, the revenue by region, revenue by educational background, the top 10 customers, the revenue by gender, the the top 10 products, and all of that. All of those things I can now begin to visualize them in my visualization in my visualization features because I've already connected all my tables together. So I will just come to this my report and begin to do all of those things, just like the way we have found this. Then we begin to do some other things to it. From here, you have done everything that you need to do, and you can make your presentation from here. So all what you just need to be doing to this one is to now start to do your formatting, maybe to now be applying your colors, applying your details. If I want to do that, I'll just come here and say, help me to format. What am I formatting? I want to format the title. I can say help me to format the title. I'll just turn it on and come here and say format my title, help me to bold it. You see something will be changing. I can come here and say, okay, I want to visualize this. Help me apply the color, maybe apply color brown, something like that to my visuals. I can say I want color background to be this. So all of this can be applied to what I need to do. If I go to properties now, I'll just come here. So all what I will just be doing from here now is just my formatting. I'll just keep formatting all my details, all my values, and be applying it to the details that I want to do. So it's just as simple as that. But there's going to be a recording video for us not to take our time tonight on that aspect where we'll fully talk about the visualization aspect. So for tonight, we are going to stop there for tonight. So thank you for joining. I know some of us might have a question to ask. If you have a question, just put up your hands. You can raise your virtual hands. Let's see if you have any questions. Any area you need clarity. Uh, this session is recorded, so you can go back to listen to it over and over again. So, any questions, please? If you have your questions, kindly unmute before we call it a day. Okay, I think somebody wants to speak with us. Uh, Deborah Paco, do you have any question? Oh yeah, please ask your question. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you. Please speak.
Not yet, sir. I don't have any questions for now.
You don't have any question. Okay, thank you. So I want to believe everything I've explained. We are all clear. If you have questions, please raise your hand. I'll just give you a few minutes for that question. If you don't have questions, it means everything we have talked about tonight, we have all understood it. It's either the lecturer has passed the message rightly, or the students did not have not gotten all the whole message. Okay. Okay. I know we have extended our time tonight. I'm sorry. We didn't plan to do this tonight. We didn't plan, but I think it's worth our time for us to go and learn on it. It's worth our time. So it's just needed for us to do this tonight. And I'm glad that we are able to just achieve it. If there's no question, we'll be rounding up this lesson. Please endeavor to start up your project. Please start up your project. Start up your project. The visualization video will be released tomorrow. So you can go through all the videos we've had and also try to understand it and use it to do your project. The project has been extended. In the initial date was on Wednesday, but now you have been given up to Friday to submit your project because from Saturday this week we'll be processing the results and also there will be release of certificates. So endeavors to try to meet up with all the things you have missed in the past. If you have missed the quiz 1, the quiz 2, the quiz 3, the quiz 4, please, you still have opportunity to do it. Try to listen to all the videos, go through your resource materials, and try to attempt it. That will help you. All right. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing anybody's hands being
Hello,
raised.
hello, sir.
Okay. Do you
Hello,
have
sir. I
something to
said,
say?
what about those that did not meet up with their own payment for the certificates?
If you have not met up your own payment for the certificate, you will not be given, no, but there is still a grace time, which is going to be 1 week after the end of this cohort. And this cohort is going to be ending on Friday. So you have between Friday and the upper Friday to make your payment. If you can, that will be the end. It means you have just learned, you have just gained in this cohort, but you don't have any certificate. It doesn't mean you have not acquired the skills that you are supposed to have acquired. But we live in a world where you need to show my certificate. Nobody will want to say, let's come and see, come and tell us what you know. They want to see you presenting your certificate first before you display your skill. So that's all about that. So
Thank you.
we can end this class if there is no any other questions. Is anybody saying something? Please, I'm so sorry that we have extended this class. I'm so sorry. Our class is not supposed to be more than 1 hour, but because this is like the last live session we will be having, so we need to just seal up all the gray areas, and that's why we are doing this tonight. So thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you for joining, for taking your time to just stay tuned to this moment. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you very much.